This video is very different to the usual content that I upload to this channel, but I do think this story is very entertaining and at some points very frustrating, and it involves the very difficult task of collecting lost Dragon Ball media. I spent the last 10 years collecting and preserving several dubs of Dragon Ball that aired within the UK. Now these dubs never had an official release, so the only way that you can re-experience them is through TV recordings that fans had captured between 2001 and 2005, when Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT had first aired in the UK. I did make a video over a year ago explaining how we experienced Dragon Ball on UK TV. The video is titled Dragon Ball Z in the UK. Our experience of the Dragon Ball anime was entirely different from the experience that most American fans had, and that video does an excellent job of detailing all of the different dubs and giving examples of how they sounded. So if you want an in-depth look into how we experienced Dragon Ball in the UK, then go and check out that video before this one. Otherwise, I am going to be briefly going over the dubs and explaining what they are, and then the various different things that I went through in order to preserve these dubs. So let's get into it. This is my story of how I spent 10 years collecting lost Dragon Ball media. So in the UK, the first 107 episodes of Dragon Ball Z were identical to how American fans had been experiencing the series on Cartoon Network in the US. For the first 53 episodes, we all experienced Dragon Ball Z through the Ocean Studios dub, and then from episodes 54 onwards, Funimation had stopped outsourcing the dubbing to Ocean Studios and started dubbing in-house. This dub would of course come to be known as the Funimation dub, and this voice cast is still dubbing Dragon Ball Z even to this day in the various different movies and games that are released. Now when we get to episode 108, the UK starts to differ in how we experience Dragon Ball Z. Midway through the Trunks saga and going on to the Android saga, we received an entirely different dub, and this dub is known as the Westwood dub. For some reason, the voice cast from the Ocean dub had returned to dub this alternative English version of Dragon Ball Z. The exact reason for why the Westwood dub was produced is not entirely known, and to be honest, it baffles most people why two alternative English versions of the same series were produced. One of these dubs, the Funimation dub, had become the default version of the series, with most people now in 2021 forgetting that we had the Westwood dub in the UK. When I speak to most people, they recognize the opening song of the Westwood dub, but they even swear to themselves that they grew up with the Funimation dub. When I tell fans that we didn't have the Funimation dub from halfway through the Trunks saga all the way to the end of the Kid Buu saga, they frankly don't believe me and vividly remember Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat having voiced the various different characters during those portions of the story. The only explanation that I have for people misremembering how they experienced the Dragon Ball Z anime was that the games were being dubbed by Funimation, while on TV the characters were being voiced by entirely different voice actors. Now it is the Westwood dub that started me off on all of this journey. There are a few reasons as to why this dub was produced. Dragon Ball Z in Europe and in the UK was being distributed by a company called AB Group. In online rumour mills, it is said that AB Group was responsible for creating the Westwood dub, and this was in response to Cartoon Network UK no longer wanting to purchase any more episodes from Funimation. Apparently, Funimation was charging too much money for licensing their dub for UK airing. Of course, fans still wanted more episodes of Dragon Ball Z. This then caused the European distributor of Dragon Ball, AB Group, to create a brand new English dub, which would be distributed to English-speaking countries. So while the Funimation dub continued to be aired in Australia, New Zealand, and in America of course, other English-speaking countries received this alternative English dub that AB Group had produced. The alternative English dub, or the Westwood dub, was produced within Vancouver, Canada, and it featured the return of the Ocean dub voice actors who had dubbed the first 53 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. This dub featured a completely different musical score. It had original pieces that were created for the series, and it had recycled music from Ocean Studios' other productions like the Mega Man dub.
This oughta fix Proto Man!
Make sure you tune in to the next explosive episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Another notable notable point about the Westwood dub was that it was an edited release. On average, each episode from episodes 108 to 276 featured 1 to 2 minutes of cut content. This cutting was done in instances of censorship, where the background was panning for too long, and in some cases the cuts didn't even make any sense. The scripts that the Westwood dub had used were identical to the Funimation dub, so you'd effectively have the same lines read by 2 different voice actors, and this was because Ocean Studios was still helping Funimation with their dub. When it comes to the Westwood dub, it is known that it was very rushed, and even the voice actor for Goku was changed halfway through, from Peter Kelamis to Kirby Morrow. Kirby Morrow did indeed dub the rest of the series until the end of the Kid Buu saga. Sadly, he did pass away last year in November, and I hope that his contribution to the Dragon Ball franchise can be appreciated more by international English-speaking fans, since Kirby Morrow was one of the main voices of our childhood. I created this video not only to document how difficult it was to find these lost pieces of Dragon Ball media, but to also dispel some myths and misconceptions, and to give credit to where it's due. Sure, everybody knows that Sean Chamel voices Goku now, but the talent and effort of the various different voice actors who had voiced Goku also needs to be recognized, and by highlighting the existence of these various different English dubs of the Dragon Ball franchise, we can appreciate the efforts of several different voice actors who played their own parts in shaping and bringing to life the various different characters within the Dragon Ball story. So the Westwood dub is the rare lost media and unreleased content of Dragon Ball that we received, while the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT dubs were also alternative English dubs, which were produced by Ocean Studios' budget sister studio called Blue Water Studios, hence why the versions of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT that we received are called the Blue Water dubs. Now these dubs are rare because they have never had an official home video release, so the only way to re-experience these dubs is if you happen to record these episodes while they were airing on TV. As far as I know, the last time that these episodes aired on TV was back in 2005. So imagine having all of these episodes of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT that you have to collect, firstly hoping that fans had even recorded these episodes to begin with, and then secondly praying that they didn't throw them away and they preserved the VHS tapes. And this is why my involvement with preserving these dubs begins. Back in the summer of 2008, I wanted a way to watch Dragon Ball Z on my actual TV and not just watch the episodes on my computer. This is where I started to save up my lunch money and I bought the Funimation box sets, which fans refer to as the orange brick sets. I gradually collected these releases by Funimation and eventually acquired all 9 of the season sets. But after watching them, I realized that this wasn't the version of Dragon Ball Z that I grew up with, and I was confused because the voices were different and the music was entirely different. And this is why I discovered the now defunct Cartoon World forums, where fans posted on a thread about an alternative version of Dragon Ball Z. From 2008 to 2010, various different fans were gathering together onto these forums. Their aim was to put together a complete version of the Westwood dub, every episode from episodes 108 to 276. The quality didn't matter, we just needed to know that the episode existed and it was preserved in some way. Over the span of 2.5 years, fans from the United Kingdom, the Netherlands and even Canada were able to compile all of the Westwood dub episodes, albeit not in the best quality, and some of them were missing recaps and next episode previews, but it was better than nothing. Thankfully, I was able to contribute to these fans, because I had every episode of Dragon Ball GT in the Blue Water dub. The reason that I had all of these episodes just so happened to be a very strange coincidence. When I was younger, my parents had paid a family friend to give me every episode of Dragon Ball Z on DVD-R discs. Now these discs you could put into the computer and you could watch the episodes like a USB pen drive. The 64 episodes of Dragon Ball GT that were on these dodgy DVD-R discs just so happened to be the UK versions. So by complete coincidence and without me even knowing, I had the Blue Water dub of Dragon Ball GT that fans online were having a very difficult time trying to find recordings of. I was finally able to contribute to this group of online fans who had been preserving the way that I'd experienced Dragon Ball as a kid. After sharing those episodes of Dragon Ball GT, so many people shared their nostalgia with listening to the opening and the voice actors, and it felt incredibly rewarding helping people to relive a part of their childhood. And that feeling of satisfaction that I felt by sharing a piece of media which otherwise would have been lost to time is what motivated me to continue on this journey. So now, having compiled every episode of the Westwood dub and the Blue Water dub of Dragon Ball GT, our attention turned to the Blue Water dub of Dragon Ball. Now, at the time when I had gotten involved with collecting the Dragon Ball dub, there were only 5 episodes that were preserved. It was evident that we were having a very difficult time trying to find recordings of the Blue Water dub of Dragon Ball. In 2010, I was able to access an IRC channel that was created by an individual from the UK who went by the alias Andy Scott. On his IRC channel, I found various different Toonami UK recordings, and among these recordings was most of the Dragon Ball Blue Water dub. And on top of this, I'd found 64 episodes of the Blue Water Dragon Ball GT dub. At this time, I'd created my own fan site called UK Dragon Ball. Back in 2010, you can access it by going on ukdb.net, and this is where these Blue Water dub episodes of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT were shared onto. Now at this point, we had almost every episode of the Dragon Ball Blue Water dub, aside from episodes 71, 92 and 124. Thankfully, some fans came forward and were able to share their own home video recordings of episode 92 and 124. But the elusive episode 71 of the Dragon Ball Blue Water dub was still missing, and it was at this time in 2012 when I stepped away from the collecting scene. I felt like my job was done and I had contributed everything that I could to the scene, and at the time I had various different commitments like going to university on my mind. So I stepped away from the collecting scene and nothing really changed in that time. No new recordings of these episodes were found, and there was still no news on episode 71 of the Dragon Ball Blue Water dub. During those 2 years that I was away, the forum that we had been collecting this lost media on, Cartoon World, was shut down. So unless you downloaded all of these episodes and had them saved on a portable hard drive, you were out of luck. There was nowhere else to really find these episodes, and I had even shut down my UK Dragon Ball fan site, UKDB. This is where in 2014 some fans from Canada started to reach out to me on various different platforms. I'd been ignoring them for a long time, but they had managed to even find my eBay account and were messaging me on there, asking for the Westwood dub and the Blue Water dubs, since they weren't able to download them from UKDB or Cartoon World for whatever reason. At this time, there was a brand new website that was hosting all of these discussions called Kometsu, and it was on there that fans were once again trying to recompile every episode of the Westwood dub and the Blue Water dub. This second generation of fans who were collecting these dubs also promised that there were still hoarders who had higher quality versions of these episodes, and it was this promise of higher quality versions that roped me right back into the scene. What really made me feel put off and leave the actual collecting scene was the attitude of some fans. If you've never been in the circle of collecting rare lost media, then all of this is going to be unknown to you, but some fans who actually have these rare pieces of lost media develop a superiority complex where they think they are better than everybody else, all because they own this one thing that everybody wants. In the Dragon Ball fandom, this attitude is severely toxic. You have this attitude appearing in the Westwood dub collecting scene, the Blue Water dub collecting scene, as well as the Japanese broadcast audio collecting scene, where fans were trying to collect high quality Japanese recordings of Dragon Ball Z because their audio quality was better than the audio quality on the DVDs. I was speaking to some fans about the Blue Water dub of Dragon Ball, and they had every episode there in really good quality, and one of them even sent me pictures of them snapping discs that they had these episodes on because they felt like nobody else should be able to see them, all because he didn't like this dub, despite the fact that he had recorded every episode and preserved it for so long. But when I had asked him to share these episodes with me so that I could give them to other fans so that they could relive a part of their childhood, he snapped every disc that these episodes were recorded on. And that's just one example of many where fans become really arrogant and egotistical, all because they luckily were able to obtain something that nobody else has. I mean, I could have done the same thing with my Blue Water Dragon Ball GT recordings that I had, but at the end of the day, nobody benefits by doing that. These dubs are only remembered by a handful of people, and it's a shame that some fans behave in such a manner. It prevents these dubs from being preserved, it stops fans who grew up with these dubs re-experiencing them, and it stops new fans from enjoying them also. Fans who develop these kind of characteristics are dubbed as hoarders in the scene. These hoarders behave like this so that they can trade with other hoarders who have high quality recordings, and frankly they hated it when I was sharing these episodes with other fans, because if everybody possessed these recordings, then they lost their ability to be traded with other hoarders. So from 2014 till even this year, I got back involved in the scene and I was trying to get high quality recordings of the Westwood dub and the Blue Water dubs. Through speaking to various different fans on Facebook, I was able to get VHS tapes sent over to me, and for years I was capturing and preserving several different fans' VHS tapes of their collections of Dragon Ball recordings. Then eventually there were a couple of fans, one from Canada and one from Wales in the UK, who provided me with really high quality recordings of the Westwood dub and some of the Blue Water dub. So I can safely say after about 10 years we have every single episode of the Westwood dub in really good quality, with all of the recaps and next episode previews intact. And when I say really good quality, I mean as close to DVD release as possible, where there is no VHS hissing, there's no missing portions in the episode, and it's the best sounding version of that episode that we have. And when it comes to episode 71 of the Dragon Ball Blue Water dub, I was able to find one version of that episode, but sadly the first 5 minutes of it were missing, and the entire episode has this really bad VHS hissing, but it's better than nothing, and hopefully if this video blows up then there might be somebody out there who's recorded this episode who would feel generous enough to share it with others. After acquiring every episode in high quality of the Westwood dub, I decided to once again step away from the scene. My only contribution now is to sync these high quality audio recordings to DVD footage. Now this in itself is a very lengthy process, because like I mentioned earlier, the Westwood dub has several different edits and cuts, so we're having to cut the DVD footage so it syncs up to the audio from the recorded Westwood episodes. If you know where to look, then you'll know where we are uploading these episodes. But yeah, this is the most definitive, best way to watch the Westwood dub in 2021. Hopefully before long we'll have every episode from 108 to 276 in really good audio quality synced to DVD footage. And in all honesty, throughout these 10 years, that's all that I've wanted. A decent way to rewatch Dragon Ball Z in the version that I grew up with. Now I know for a fact that a few people will be saying that what I'm doing is illegal and I shouldn't be sharing copyrighted content. But the fact of the matter is, these dubs have never had an official release, and the people that were involved with producing these versions of Dragon Ball have no intention of releasing this on a home video release. If we didn't go through all of this effort, then these dubs would have been lost to time, and that's my moral reasoning. Personally, I don't have any issue with releasing media which is either out of print, unreleased, or is considered lost media. And to wrap up this video, I know for a fact that there is somebody out there who has really high quality versions of all of these episodes that we tried so hard to preserve over the last 10 years. And that's totally fine, because collecting high quality versions of lost Dragon Ball episodes is never going to get you laid. So yeah, let me hand over this discussion to you guys. Did any of you know about the different English dubs of Dragon Ball? And what are your thoughts about this little hobby that I had for 10 years? I'd love to read your thoughts and your comments on my obsession with collecting UK recordings of Dragon Ball Z.